I'm joined here by Jim Caviezel. Thank you so much for spending some moments with us today. I guess first question is, you were yourself a high school athlete and a college athlete. What was it about Coach Ladd's story, and obviously the story of De La Salle High School, that really made you want to take on this role?
You know, I went to his last game, his 399th win, and he, a lot like Clint Eastwood, not a lot of words, but when he spoke, it was the old E.F. Hutton, people listen. At halftime we went in, and I was allowed to videotape everything, literally right up to his face, and I just watched him listen to each group of coaches, let them do their job, and then they nodded to him at the end and said, ready to go. And this is the state championship. And he said a couple words, and they went out and just demobilized the team. And he didn't do a lot of hoorah or anything. But what was most remarkable about him is when I saw the footage, you could see these boys' eyes glowing, and they could look. You could look into their souls, and they would look into his, and he was just absolutely authentic. And I think, like John Wooden and Lombardi, you know, he won 151. We're talking about a man that won 151 football games in a row, right? It's the longest winning streak in the history, and he never did it with talking about winning. He focused on their character, and from that came winning, but not by focusing on it.
You know, you bring up John Wooden. I read somewhere that your dad actually played basketball at UCLA under John Wooden, and it was John Wooden who said that sports don't build character, they reveal it. That was the message that I really took out of this film. For you, what's the message of this film, and why do you think it's important?
Well, in your character, I don't know if it was Coach Wooden who said, what you do in private is who you really are. Your character is everything. When the coach turns his back, and many times the kids, that's when they let up. But the Ladd's guys, they take full accountability of their own actions. You know, they have these things called commitment cards, and on them they talk about their game goal, their practice goal, their weightlifting goal. And I would get up and I would take you and I would say what your goals were. And my responsibility was you, not myself, but you, that you accomplished your goals. And I was held accountable for it. This is the early stage in their lives where they're boys and they're not quite men. And you know, there are a lot of 40-year-old, 50-year-old guys out there that never become men. And what is lacking? Responsibility. He got up in front of the team one time and he said, we're not asking you to play a perfect game. That's impossible. What we're asking of you, and what you should be asking of yourselves, is to give a perfect effort on every play from snap to whistle that you can be depended on. Love means you can depend on me.
What role do you think Coach Ladd's faith played in the decisions that he made for his team?
People talk about faith all the time. You know, faith to me is believing without seeing. It is how you live your life, and that you're authentic. So many people now that I see that are Christians are phony balonies. They're not authentic. Why not just say stay secular and stop turning people off and just do whatever you want? I mean, why not, you know, go for whatever the world wants? I love Ladouceur on this. That man could have left De La Salle and made a fortune. People say, I want my, you know, kid playing for him, and the kid goes there, and then the parents are like, well, we want our kid to have the ball more, we want this more, we want that, and then really the kid reflects the parents, and parents are selfish, so really they don't want a coach like Ladouceur, because he's about the team concept, he's about, you know, the parts of the body. And Ladd could have gone on. In fact, at the end of the movie, you have John Madden, who was a phenomenal mentor to many coaches in the NFL, great NFL coach himself, and he talked about Ladd and said that he could have, you know, what he could have done in the NFL, what he could have done in college and the offers that he had and turned down because he was about developing these boys. That says something to me. A guy that turned down that kind of money and being able to coach anywhere he wanted to and stayed so that he could help make an impact on these boys' lives. My personal experience with Ladd was when he met my son and how the interest he took in my son. And I could see right away how kids had, a lot of adults, they give lip service, but this guy was very glued into my son's formation right away. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? One day I took him to De La Salle's practice, and you could just see these guys get just beat up one side of the head to the other, and some of the seniors quit, and they called him out and said, "You're a bunch of posers." And that is like life. People, Christians that claim they're one thing and they do another, they're posers. And when it got tough, they quit. And so afterwards, they were on one knee. They all got down. They gave him no screaming, nothing. It was very clear. And the boys got up and they had this 1,000-yard stare in their eyes. And my Ladouceur put his arm around my son and he said, "See, Bo, they don't like practice much either."
What do you think it is about sports movies that make such compelling and sometimes, in this case, inspirational stories?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, for me, when I was a senior year in high school, we were heading to the state tournament, and it looked like we were going to play some team by the name of Mountain View, but Mountain View beat Mercer Island, who was #1 ranked team in the state, and Mercer Island doesn't lose, and they're not going to lose twice in a row. And we knew we probably weren't not going to go to the state tournament. We were not going to beat them. That night we went out and saw a movie called Hoosiers, and the movie is about, obviously, this big powerhouse, big high school, thousands of kids versus a school of less than 150. And the little school, 150, goes out and beats the powerhouse. And we saw ourselves as that Cinderella team. And at the end of the film, he shows a picture of the team, and I hear Gene Hackman say, "I love you guys." And I just lost it. And that feeling inside, I still feel it, of my teammates, that, the fear that was there is gone. We went out that night and I was in the zone. I played out of my mind. I wasn't afraid, and we won. Wow. It doesn't always turn up that way, but it was one of the most memorable experiences of my life, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for spending this time with us. And again, you can see Jim Caviezel as Coach Ladd in When the Game Stands Tall in theaters on August 22nd. Thank you so much.
Thank you.